Hi traders, welcome to the full market analysis for the 21st of August. Hope you're well. The flash, where are we? Oh yeah, the flash manufacturing PMI inflation data has been released, pretty flat, 49.8 as opposed to 49.7. So no impact on markets at all. Now tomorrow there's some speeches going on. Chairman Powell is speaking, and you've got the Jackson Hole meeting. So it's all going to be going off tomorrow, and I suspect the markets will be pretty flat tomorrow, so look out for that. Let's go into the markets and see what's going on, shall we? I haven't been here for a while. Let's have a look. What we'll do a bit of coaching as well to help you along to understand the reversal system which we're in. And don't forget that the reversal system can act as a momentum indicator as well, so it can be a continuation pattern as well. So bear that in mind. I'll cover that in the next few minutes. So where are we? Pound USD. So let me give you my take on the situation. You might read it slightly differently to me, which is fine. But let's zoom out a bit. So once we're in a position where we are making profits, then there isn't much to do, to be honest. However, there's a few exit strategies that you can use. One is you can use this indicator here. Now it's showing 70.5 as a probable reversal. So it's not particularly high. If it's up here at 98.5, there's a very, very high chance of a probable reversal, which and it actually happened there as well. So look out for those. So my exit strategy is fairly straightforward, but it's combined with a couple of other things. So my exit strategy number one is to hold the position when it's all red, hold the position while it's all green. The great thing about that, of course, is I can relax and go and play golf and make some money. And so therefore you can, if you want to play golf, that is. So hold that while it's red if you're selling. Now there is a demand area here on pound USD at 134.20. So that might be respected. It's not a strong demand. Strong demand is down here. If we zoom out a bit, I can show you this. By power of 80, so there's a strong possibility that the price is going to be attracted to that. That's the first thing. And secondly, there's going to be a very good chance that the price is going to come in at 131.80 and then reverse to giving us a buying opportunity. Okay, so the other thing I must see from my perspective, you might be different, is I must see when I'm buying that the price remains above the 20 SMA. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart. I trade off the 4-hour chart 90% of the time. So in this scenario, I'm happy to hold the position, but I want to make sure that the candle remains below the blue line. As long as it does, if the candle zooms up and finishes above it, I don't want to be short. Okay? You don't want to be short. So in this scenario, I have no concerns. 70.5 is okay. If it's sitting above, if it's on 99% up here, then of course it's probably reached its peak. Okay, if it's reached its peak up there somewhere, then we are looking for an exit strategy somewhere. But that's the beauty of what we do, is to ensure that this type of trading enables us to walk away and do whatever we want to do with our friends and families and spend more time away from the charts, which is really, really important. Okay, so let's go through, see what's going on. We've got stronger dollar in play, not massively strong, so we can see there's no reversal here. When you see the price drifting like this, in between support and resistance, we're not particularly interested in trading. We don't trade the DXY, I know, but This is much more interesting. This is, you know, high quality, where the price is going to make a big move. That's what we're interested in. Or up there, you're going to see that there. So when you see it drifting, any kind of asset across the board, whether it's stocks, indices, commodities, Forex, gold, etc. If it's doing this, then just forget it. Walk away. Now I've just checked on the indices and the futures contracts. Flat as a pancake, to be honest. The Nasdaq I want to go over with you because I know some of you trade the Nasdaq. And let me just make. This is the Nasdaq on the 1 hour chart using the same settings. You don't need to change anything. Once you've got the settings, you've got the charts, that's it. That's already pre-arranged, everything's set as it should be. We can see here that on the 1 hour chart it's come up to a very strong resistance zone, plus 76. Change of character, price goes down 800 and something points. Now we do have, this is what I mean by drifting. It's like the price is floating around in the middle of nothing. Not sure where to go really. That's what it is. But I am interested in this here. 22673 is the number. Look out for that. So as it comes down, and it probably will at some stage, you're going to see a bounce in the market there, possibly, but there's very little volume. And don't forget, the stock markets will be waiting for the speeches tomorrow as well. Oil, I posted this in the VIP room, signals room, a few days ago now. It came right in the money on this very strong buy power of 81, very high, very strong. It's finding some resistance, isn't it, this supply, but it's very weak. It's highly unlikely it's going to, well, it can do, it can go any way it likes, but it's a very weak one. There's no real strong supply zone as such. Up there it is at $71, so it could fly. So look out for that. Pound USD, as I mentioned. Now Laurie did mention the Heikin Ashi charts as an exit strategy. Doesn't really work for me because it means I'm going to be spending more time on the charts. But if it works for you, then use it. So let's zoom in. It's pound USD again. So one thing we know for sure is if we see a bullish candle go green, that's a buy. We then can see whether the candle has a long wick. See, there's mixed. This has no wick, no wick, no wick, no wick, no wick, no wick, which is bullish. So if you go in on any of these candles after the candle that's had no wick, it's likely to make money. And if you get this going on with the doji, you can exit. But for me, it doesn't really work for me because it means I'm sitting in the chart and I don't want to be doing that. If you want to be doing that, that's your choice. Now in the short position, of course, you've got red candles. Everything goes red when it's a sell. So, started quite a long way up here. Look at that. When you see no wick, 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 there's nothing ambiguous about it. The sellers are all in. Therefore, you can actually sell it at any stage if you wish. 4 hour chart, there's no rush. My preference is to just chill out, and as long as my trading rules are intact as I come in, and I check it maybe twice a day, once a day, I'm happy. So let's go through the chart, shall we? Let's start at the bottom actually. Let's start with Euro Pound, looking okay, very quiet. 56%, 56.7 chance of reversal. So we're happy with that. So we're just going to hold on to it while it stays green. If it goes red, I'll pull out. If it goes up to 99% and then goes red, then I'm definitely out for sure. But this is a very clever way of ensuring that you first of all walk away from the markets, really important, plus you hold on to that position for as long as possible, because if you're going to make 500 pips, it's not going to happen overnight. And most of the successful traders that I've ever known hold on to their profits for as long as they can, because that's just the way it is. People fail because they take the profits too soon, often. Bitcoin's not moving yet. So the entry point is here, 112.46, currently up slightly. And just a question coming in. Just reading the questions. Thank you so much for all the questions, by the way. This is fascinating, I know. This is going to be Pine script. It's not quite ready yet. The guys are working on it because there's quite a lot. It's much more complicated than it looks because they're not standard settings, if you know what I mean. All these that you see are not standard. The 20 SMA is probably anything that is standard. So yes, where was I? Bitcoin, so on the money here, in the money rather, just on there, but not doing much. The second choice, of course, for entry points is to buy when it goes green. When this goes green, look at the reversal here. My big head out the way. 92.9% chance of a reversal. In other words, it's going to shoot up. Okay, and you have an 74% chance of this price reversing to the upside, combined with 92.9%. Very, very strong. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's probably got a 98% chance of working. Pound yen is very similar to the pound USD, isn't it, in terms of shape, coming into supply several times. We had several opportunities here over the last week to get into this position. Just when you actually get into this and get used to it, it actually feels, probably from your perspective, the wrong thing to do. If you know what I mean. So as the price goes up and it's all green, you'll be selling it, which might seem counterintuitive to what you're used to, but you are getting into the position really, really early with a really tight stop. So we got in here, 53 pip stop. Okay, let's look at the risk to reward. 483 pips with a 9.11 risk to reward. Now, if that comes in, that is a massive amount of money for you based upon a very low risk position. Now, of course, if you get in on the break as it falls down, now what tends to happen normally, what you do is you get in as the price breaks below the 20 SMA. That's the normal thing to do. And what people tend to do is put their stop just above that area here, or just above the previous swing high. And what can happen is, and what often happens, is that the price comes back into that and it's stop hunting to get you to take those positions out. That's what the institutions are doing. So ensure that your stop is above this area here, above all this resistance noise, so that you're miles away from everybody else. Okay, so if you enter here, you've got to have 158 pip stop as opposed to a 53 pip stop. So the risk reward becomes less. It's still sufficient, and of course, but you're better off having 10 times, just by being a little bit more aggressive, maybe, Depends on your personality a lot of times. So in this scenario here, the pound yen is moving downwards in this channel. I'm happy to hold this, even though the Heikin-Ashi charts have gone green. But look where the price is in terms of the 20 moving average. Now, if as time goes on, maybe the next 24 hours, the price gives way, I'm happy, of course. But if it comes up above this at some stage and a candle finishes above the 20, then that is my exit strategy, and I might bank, I don't know, 150 pips, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. But that's the strategy. So you're allowing the price to give every opportunity to get to that position where you're going to bank a ton of money without any effort whatsoever. In fact, less effort, the better. I make more money in the golf course than I do any other time. New Zealand yen. Fancy this? So here we go again. Here we go again. Now sometimes this indicator here, reversal probability 34.2, doesn't really match anything really, which is fine. But the 73% on a demand area with positive divergence is interesting. So buying at 85.78, I put this into the VIP room, and I know a lot of you are having great success with this system. Difference for everybody. I love it, and it seems to be working far better than most things that we've ever seen in the past 35 years, to be honest. So yeah, it looks like it's going to go up to 87.45 by now. Stop below here, 85.20. Make sure it's 2 to 1. Trade at your own risk. Canadian Swiss, I've gone long this, now moving up. So we can ignore the bottom bit and we can just focus on this bit. Buy power of 75, which is way above what we need. Above 60 is essential. Above 65 is my preference. Aussie Swiss will be doing the same thing. If you're in it, I posted this in the VIP room as well. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. Euro Swiss. Now, of course, we're short the Aussie Swiss. We're short the Canadian Swiss. Why are we? We're long the Aussie Swiss, long the Canadian Swiss. Why are we short the Euro Swiss? Well, the euro is weak, clearly. So let's have a look. See where we're. Oh, look at that. So this is one to watch because, or not watch. Please don't sit there all night watching it. But I'm interested in this now because a couple of points here. 94.7% chance of reversing at this point. So this could be an important order block here. It's not showing up yet, but it will. So that could be an important one. Now, so what do? We do nothing. And what we do is wait for the reversal to exit, to take the profits off the table, or we wait for the price to move above the 20 SMA. So once the price moves above the 20 SMA, then of course we don't want to be short. You can see that. Hopefully that's fairly clear. It's a simple system, but very, very effective. I've got the Aussie Swiss here marked. I don't know why. Don't know why. Switch that off. I'm just flicking around now just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Trade at your own risk. Stop up here. 23,376. Target 22,478. Trade at your own risk. Now, questioning on Euro New Zealand. Thanks, Laurie. I know you're so active. Brilliant questions. Thank you so much. So here's my take on it. I think you probably know already. You've been with me for a number of years now. Thank you for your support. I did put in a signal here, and it actually would be working. What's happened here is the previous supply zone here on this sell power, which was there, has been taken out. So for all intents and purposes, this is probably going to go down to our target, as mentioned in the VIP room. However, it's no longer valid. So I've taken it out, I've made a small loss, but on trades that are likely, well, first of all, that fit our criteria. That's the first thing. But the second thing is that I'd rather be putting in my money into something that's highly probable and not ambiguous, if that makes any sense. Now the Aussie Canadian is looking pretty good. I mark these down. So I put a little marker on them in mauve when I see something possibly. All right, so we have divergence. We have a buy power of 76 coming up. This is not my favourite trade. I have to say, Aussie Canadian is a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest with you. It doesn't really do much. You're not going to get hundreds of pips out of it, that's for sure. But this buy area here, 88.90, is probably going to go back up to 90.15. Pound Canadian's not moving yet. None of these moves they seem like they're moving in our direction, and they are. Everything's in profit, great, happy days. But they're not sort of motoring down to the targets at the moment. Lack of volume, I guess. Now this is interesting, the Pound Canadian. Couple of points to mention. First of all, it's still red. And this indicates that it's a long way to go, with a 53.6% chance of reversal, very low. So this is highly likely, this demand area is likely to be very weak. So further downside is likely. I'll be moving my target actually, because of this, I'll be moving my target down to, you can do the same, 180 to 66. So a massive move is likely. We don't know that it's going to happen, but likely. 8 times risk. And I don't know how many pips that is. 458. Euro Aussie. Yeah, Euro Aussie is doing the same as the Euro Canadian. Now the US yen, I did post this in the VIP room as a trading idea. So it's now moving into the area. It's 148.19. There we go. So what I've done, I've gone into the 2-hour chart. And the 2-hour and 1 hour combined is a good option. Sometimes I prefer the 4-hour because it gives us more potential for profits, i.e. 300, 400, 500 pips potentially. But here we can see that the price has a sell power of 69. It's just changed trends to the upside here on this 10.3% probability of reversal. But look, it's pretty much sideways, so that can be ignored. But we can see the price moving up to 148.19 into this area. Probably going to get into that into the next hour or so. And then make sure your stops above this area. Trade at your own risk, of course. I've got a limited target because it all looks pretty flat and sideways, down to 147, which gives us 114 pips. Now this is a very good example, not that chart, this is a very good example of the US Canadian. I mentioned this in the VIP room. They're not all going to work, of course, but the risk rewards are far bigger than the risk. But we can see, it's coming into a sell power of 70. Our stop is above here, but look what's missing. So the supply zone's gone. This previous supply zone's gone. So you can, if you wish, allow the stop to take place, and then such is life. Or you can just exit the strategy and wait for a new one. Now what can happen, as I mentioned yesterday, the price can break the supply zone, which it's done. But then what can happen is it can create another supply zone at a later date. If it doesn't break that and start a new trend up there. If that makes any sense. Hopefully it does. But what we can do with that is you can just leave it, wait for, if you close it, it's fine, you make a small loss, but then you'd have to wait for a new position to establish itself for it to go down. All right, wait for a new sell area. Now there's another sell area up here, 139.92 up here, and that may converge at a later date. Now I mentioned the Aussie USD, buy power of 72 into a very strong demand area with divergence and a double bottom. So this is highly likely to start to make a move shortly, and that will drive the US Canadian down actually. So you don't want to be trading both because you're doubling your risk on the same move. But this is interesting. So this indicates that the US Canadian could start to move down. Pound USD, you know all about that. I mentioned that earlier today. You know my exit strategy. Happy with that, just to sit on that, just come back in the morning, see what's going on. Is it still below the 20 when I come back? Is the still in the red zone? Are all the sellers still in? Yes, they are. Quick look at gold. I think it's very mixed. We're in the dark zone here. Yeah, it looks pretty flat. I did put this as a trading idea. Here's the gold on steroids. For those who don't know gold on steroids, we're looking for price to below the 50 moving average. That's the wrong colour. Yellow. So we're waiting for the price to move below the 50 moving average for a sell, or above the 50 moving average for a buy, below the 50, above the 50. You get the picture. So here we've got a very strong sell supply zone. Oh, it's not very strong anymore. Sell at 59. That's not good enough. So forget that. So it just indicates that probably the gold is going to come sideways into the next 24 hours actually. So that's it for today. Hold on to those positions as mentioned. If you want the reversal system, it's 97 quid. Totally up to you. I've lowered the price there just to, I don't know, help you out. So if you want that, just let me know and I'll help you along the way.